Holy smokes, it's cold out here. Yep. Oh, too far. Way too far. Holy. I've been making YouTube videos I think this will be my 4th year making YouTube videos, going into my 4th year. Kind of crazy to think about. So it's had to be at least 2 years since I made what I tried not to do, like kind of a clickbaity video, and which was a young farmer makes $1 million or something like that, and then it says I don't, because I don't. Yeah. It just goes to show how kind of weird YouTube is. You do a clickbait video, gets 500,000 views. But I figured it's been 2 years since I've made that video, and in that video I will kind of cap what we talked about, and that was basically how I got into haying, and I'll tell you guys that again here later on in the video. But I've also now had 2 more years of making hay under my belt. I'm gonna have to move that with the skid steer. Some of the equipment has changed. The amount of hay acres we run has changed. So I figured maybe it's time to make another clickbaity video to kind of update you guys why or how my philosophies around making hay has changed. Maybe some plans to continue the change going on here forward into the 2022 hay season as we load up some hay and haul some hay. Oh, and look, my power steering is leaking. Maybe it just won't work and it'll make me turn south, and my truck will just take me to a sandy beach in Mexico. Oh boy, this old truck, she's just falling apart. Snow covered path, big trailer. What could go wrong? Man, you know it's gonna be a good time when you look at where you're gonna load hay, and you gotta figure out where the heck's the least likely spot for me to get stuck. Oh. Can we choose here? Oh boy. Oh. Sorry. Sorry. I didn't make the weather. In the last video, I talked about small square bales a lot and how I got into the hay market and some of the things that I've learned. Kind of to revisit that, we didn't have hay ground when I came back to the farm. My dad did a little bit of hay, but he was just like on a shares deal where he had someone come in and cut the hay. He got paid for half of the bales, and that was done and out. We didn't have any actual hay ground. I was pretty memorized, fascinated, I guess you could say, by the process of cutting hay, raking hay, and baling hay, and within a week you could have a product to sell. And even to this day, cutting hay and putting up hay is still probably one of my favorite things to do, as long as the weather's good. If it's not good, because guarantee you it's like a 90% chance that you look at your weather app or whatever you get your weather from, it's like, yes, I got a good 3-4 day window to turn around and get some hay put up. The minute you get done cutting that hay, they're gonna put like an 80% chance of rain in there on the 3rd day when you're supposed to be baling, and then you're gonna be racing the baling, or racing the weather to get your hay baling. That's something that you'll have to deal with. And so when I came back from college, I lived in a camper across from Wayne, my farm now. And Wayne put up hay, and it was like, it was just cool to me. So one day I went over and I chatted with Wayne a few times, and I said, hey, if you ever need any help or something like that, stacking bales or, you know, whatever, raking, I'd be happy to help you out, which I guess I didn't know Wayne that well at that point, and now that I know Wayne, there's no way you're gonna help Wayne. Because Wayne, he saw it as like a challenge. It's like, he jokes about every time Jimmy would come bale, he was always right there to stack off that last bale. And so, yeah, so I didn't get a chance to help him. But the next year, some things happened, and he decided, hey, I don't really want to do that all by myself anymore, or I shouldn't do it. And he came up to me and offered to share the hay crop on his farm with me if I put up the hay. At that point, was like, okay, I can do that. And I went and I bought a mower, and I think I bought a baler too. I don't know when I bought the two and in the timeline of that. But the day I brought this, it was like a Gale mower conditioner home, hydraulic hydro swing, big colossal thing. He basically shows up and goes, what'd you buy that piece of for? And he's like, no, you just use my mower. Needless to say that Wayne was a major part of me getting into being able to put up hay, without a doubt. Wayne was pivotal in it. Another one of my neighbors who's passed on, Art, he was really a big part of that. And then Jimmy, who still bales hay for me, is you know, another big part of how I got into hay. That's how I met Jimmy, that's how I met Art, that's how I started working with Wayne. So anyways, onto the equipment. I did buy a mower. I did mow with it on ground that I was putting up hay with, and I didn't use Wayne's mower except for on his ground for maybe about the first year. And then after that, it was the disc mower is so much faster than a sickle mower. So that's one of the things that I would definitely say is if you're a young guy looking to get into haying, mower wise, disc mower. Even if it didn't have a conditioner, I think I'd still look at a disc mower, because here's the thing about haying. Haying is very time sensitive. When the hay is ready to be cut, it needs to be cut. You want to be able to cut it as quickly as possible, because then it starts drying down. You want to be able to rake it as quickly as possible, because a uniform rake job, again, is great. And then you need to be able to bale it as quickly as possible, because nobody wants any rained on hay or moldy hay. So there's kind of a few pointers. At this point, I was very pro small square bale. I am still very pro small square bale for a young guy wanting to get into hay. Here's the deal. Later on cuttings, some guys will see it not really worth it to go out there and cut the hay because it might be thin, you might be in a drought year. But I'll tell you what, that makes really, really nice small square bales. I did offer to pretty much mow, rake, cut, bale cuttings of hay, so I didn't have to have the whole hay ground. That allowed the farmer to do is pretty much get the same amount of money that they would if they were to mow, rake, or bale it, which if they wanted to charge themselves to mow, rake, and bale it, they would actually be getting less money. And it allowed me to be pretty picky about what hay I wanted to put up into small square bales, so I could do a really good quality control on the hay that I put up. So I could go to a neighbor, again, mow, rake, cut, bale it, sell it, give them their half of the money, and it was a win-win deal. It let me keep working, which is, again, one of the most important things about being a young farmer, is always have something you can be doing. The other thing why I'm still pro small square bale is that it's actually a relatively cheaper way to get into haying for a younger guy. It's a lot of work, don't get me wrong, you're gonna sweat, but you can do it at a reasonable price. The other nice thing about it is that you can kind of set your market or your price based upon your quality of the hay. So you're not just open to, like with these round bales. These round bales, yeah, you can try and set your price, but pretty much whatever the market's bringing is going to be what you get. Small square bales, not necessarily true. You get some clients that really like the good quality hay and they're feeding it to their horses. They will pay you a top dollar for that hay, but you also have to bring them that top dollar hay. That's kind of an ugly looking bale. Now, with that being said, my opinion on small square bales has changed slightly for me. In the Amish community, I think there's been a shift, this is a speculation, from actually feeding small square bales, because if you don't know, the Amish folk don't drive tractors, we use tractors. So the small square bale market for me was actually pretty strong. Now I think the Amish have changed how they feed their hay. You're seeing them more by like 3 or 4 big square bales at a time, put it onto a wagon, and then they feed the flakes of big square bales. So I think that's actually decreased the demand for small square bales in our area. So for me, given the chance, I would actually probably move into some big square bales. I'd really like to move into some big square bales. I would even consider buying a big square baler. Just they're not very prevalent around this area, so you really don't see that many of them for sale, and I really don't know anything about them, so I really wouldn't even know what brand of big square baler to try and buy. Yeah, so to me, oh yeah, don't worry about the goggles here. I'm giving my eyes a little bit of a break from the contacts. I'm wishing I didn't, because it's like hot, cold, hot, cold. I really don't know how people that wear glasses all the time really do it. It's just fog up all the time. Oh, it's something. So yes, for me, something that I'd like to try out next year is big square bales, straw big square bales, really good second, third cutting big square bales. Thinking if I went with a big square baler, I guess I got kind of 2 options here, and that's either a John Deere big square baler or a Case New Holland big square baler are probably the only people that I think I could have serviced easily. There is an AGCO dealer up north, but I don't know. Something to think about going into next year. Man, these glasses, you can't see nothing with these things. So for math wise, for the people that don't know, a big square bale has about half of what's in a round bale, and they typically sell for about the price of a round bale, so you're getting 2 times the money for the same amount of hay. The problem is square bales, if you want to keep them in good shape, you got to store them inside, and there is quite a bit more work with them. and a little bit more risk with them too, because as soon as a round bale is wrapped up with net wrap, it's weatherproof. It can get rained on. You leave a big square bale in the field, it gets rained on, it's gonna get hurt. So there's that issue too. And then if you go even smaller into square bales, you can probably get about 25 of them or so into a big round bale. And this is again why I think small square bales should be in the $8 mark range, is because if you can get 25, 22 to 25 small square bales out of a big round bale, and basically at $5 or so, you're getting a little bit more money for them. Way more work. Or at $4, you basically would be better off putting it into big square bales then again. So really, for small square bales to continue to be attractive for the labor that you got to put into them, there's why I'm saying definitely they should be probably $8, if not more. Glasses, man, I really just need to get LASIK eye surgery done. So again, in terms of being a younger guy, which is when I made that first video, things that I would do if I was restarting over, I would definitely go with the disc mower over a sickle mower. You could get away with a sickle mower if you found, or a hay bind, sickle bind, if you found one that was in really good shape, but you will be happier with a disc bind without a doubt. In terms of rakes, you can get like a 5-bar rake. That'd work. It'd be really budget friendly, but you're really going to have a hard time getting the hay rake timely with that. And again, you want to rake the hay when the hay's ready to be raked. You can actually probably do more damage to the hay not raking the hay timely as in baling it timely, especially when it comes to alfalfa. What you could look for a cheaper rake is maybe like a 10-wheel or an 8-wheel V folding rake that has the wheels pinned together. But if you can find one that has independent arms for each rake, that's a better deal in my opinion. You'll have a lot less re-rake in the next cutting. It just seems, it depends upon how your fields are like, but our fields that move and have lots of contour to it, when the two wheels are pinned together, it seems like it drags the hay a little bit more and lifts weight up off of one wheel every now and then. So it seems like it leaves hay out there in the field, which doesn't look good in the next cutting, especially if you're doing small square bales. You'll have re-rake in there and it'll be like a black looking flake in there, and it will lower the quality of your next cutting of hay. So if you can find an independent independent wheel rake, I guess you could call it. So each wheel has its own floating arm, like New Holland has them. Those are nice. High clearance rakes, I would say, are the nicest, but I've never ran a power rake or a wheel spinning tedder looking deal. In terms of baling, I got burned when I bought my first round baler. If you can find a neighbor that you can work with, like I have been blessed to work with Jimmy, you hire somebody to do your round baling until you get to the point where it makes sense to buy a good round baler. And realistically, the only good round balers that you can buy are new round balers, in my opinion, anymore, because you don't know the history of them and you need those balers to work when the baler happens. So if you can find a neighbor to bale your hay, definitely try and do that. Upgrades I'd like to see coming in for hay, you know, I guess really I don't have any. It's like I really would like to try big square bales, but an upgrade in the future I would say is to be able to have a self-propelled mower. I think people have said that, you know, one self-propelled mower can replace 2 mowers mowing at the same time. Those are expensive, so it's not like it's going to be something that I real get into to do. And if you watch this thinking, oh hey, hay's a get rich quick proposition, no, absolutely not. Hay, just like most things in ag, struggles to make money most years. Price of hay can get really high when it's drought out, but then you also have way less hay, so there's that to work with you. Hay's just a good way for young guys to get into ag, work into ag, in a less expensive way than buying a tractor and things like that. And it's a good way to put some marginal ground into production and have a return on it. That's what hay is, because if you want to make $1 million in farming, start with 3. I think that's probably going to be enough for this video. Sorry, it was me talking a lot here. I know I didn't post very many videos in January, kind of took a little bit of a break. Things were going kind of slow, hauled grain, hauled hay, but February's coming back around. Feeling a little more energized to get back into making YouTube videos, so hopefully I can get some done more regularly for you guys. That's still really good content. Leave me a question down in the comment section. We'll see you in the next one. Hold on while I go climb my butt up on top of a trailer to get a thumbnail picture. Maybe I should make the video, Young Farmer Breaks Neck, trying to get thumbnail picture for YouTube.